it's Coach Tori, and this is Raising Runners. We talk running, fitness, mental health, and so many more topics. As the founder of a youth running program, I approach all of our conversations with our youth athletes in mind and kind of have a focus around those things. But as you will see, we are finding that all of these topics relate to runners and people who like to move and do fitness or anything like that. Relates to everybody. Check it out. So the first race distance training we're going to be talking about is the 5K. To me, I felt like that just was a logical place to start. It's a super popular distance. That's what lots of high school athletes run for cross country. It's what a lot of pedestrian runners, other runners, regular runners, fast runners, pretty much everybody will have seen a 5K, been to a 5K, know that there was a 5K at their local park this weekend. I just feel like it's kind of so common and not crazy to train for, right? Like a lot of us can be capable of running a 5K in a couple months if we had to. We're talking about two workouts today. The two workouts we're going to talk about are specific to training for a 5K. The first one is kilometer repeats, which is an interval speed training. A kilometer is 1,000 meters. I don't know how many feet that is. Doesn't matter. It's 2.5 laps around the track. Thinking of the time it takes to complete a kilometer for average people, probably 3 to 6 minutes. So the specific workout I am talking about is 5 times a kilometer. And again, when you look at 5K training, you can see anywhere between 3 times a kilometer to 8 times a kilometer, which is kind of a lot. But I remember doing this workout a whole bunch in high school cross country because that was the distance was a 5K for high school cross country. We trained throughout the summer into the fall. I believe the first track workout we did every year was kilometer repeats, and we kept that as almost a weekly workout from my memory. Again, this is a number of years ago. But I remember thinking we were doing it almost on a weekly basis. So we did this a lot. Again, from my memory, we would do 5 times a kilometer with a minute rest. It could be a 2-minute rest. Just because that seems to make a little more sense, but I am remembering a 1-minute rest between each. We often would finish it up with 2 times 200 meters afterwards as well. But typically for this workout, you would be looking at something like a 200-meter walk or jog. I've seen things up to a 500-meter jog for the rest, 2 to 4 minutes rest. Depending on your goal and experience and kind of where with your fitness, it can be done as a like 1-to-1 for work rest. So you could be looking at anything up to like 5-6 minutes rest in between each, but now you're making that a very long workout. With just the minute rest that we did from my memory, it starts to kind of bleed into more of like a tempo style almost, because you are running the kilometers at your goal pace. That's how we ran it, at goal pace, or possibly even a couple seconds faster than goal pace, I think, closer to the end of the season. But you want to be looking at your goal pace for that, which is why you can adjust between like 3 kilometers or 5 or 6. Again, if you're just starting to do this workout, it may be really hard to do 5 of them at your goal race pace. So you may start with 3. So backing up a little bit, interval training, what is that? So intervals are periods of faster, intense running interspersed with recovery segments or your rest period. Why do we do interval workouts? Interval workouts help improve running speed, efficiency. They make you stronger, faster. And we want to be fast for our 5K, if that is your goal, of course, because a 5K can feel like a long distance, but it actually can be a pretty quick race. So you do want to have some speed involved there. The speed workouts train your body to go faster, sometimes faster than our goal race pace, like I just was saying. In the small segments, the shorter speed bursts make interval training more manageable than obviously building up to the speed that you need for your 5K. So obviously you're not going to go out as some of your first speed workouts doing, 4 kilometers at race pace, because you're probably not ready for that. And, but thinking of the mental side of running, right, it's probably not good for our brain to feel those failures when we know we weren't ready to do that anyway. So that is just a little bit about what intervals are. Really, it's the speed part with a break. A lot of us are familiar with walk run. That is intervals. Fall into that as well. I think a lot of people are familiar with that also. So yes, kilometers. We did this on the track, which made it obviously easy to track because it was 2.5 laps. You can do it out in trails, roads, whatever you're running on a treadmill, anything like that. I believe there probably were some times that we did do kilometer repeats on, I think specifically our home cross country course, because it is a good idea when you are training for a race to replicate what that can look like environmentally. So as great as it is to be able to run faster than goal pace on the track where it's flat and springy, if you're out in the grass and the hills or gravel or dirt, anything where the terrain is a little different and there's hills, ups, downs, all of that, obviously your pace is changing a little bit. So practicing those fast speeds on whatever you are running on is a great idea. So kilometer repeats also are great because they're versatile. So we are obviously talking about the 5K, but you can do them for 10K training, half training, even further than that. Like I said, you can do 3 to 5 repeats. I've seen workouts from up to 8 to 10 or 8 to 12, and doing them at your goal pace or slightly faster. If you're doing high reps, maybe you are doing it a little slower. Depends again what you're training on. So I guess talking a little bit more about how we used to do it, starting with the warm-up. So in my opinion, I like to have people and myself do a pretty good warm-up before doing speed workouts, track workouts, things like that. Not only does it actually help your body obviously get ready to put that effort out, but I also think having, I don't want to say rigorous because I think that sounds like it's exhaustive too, but having an intense is the wrong word. You know what I'm trying to say, hopefully, but having a routine for warm up that has things involved in it that really are getting you like, okay, this is serious, this is focused, can get you in the right mindset to be ready to really push the pace, especially for us runners who love to just go out and accumulate those slow, easy miles with all the beautiful scenery. Shifting our attitude towards running a little bit when we are doing speed can help us really grind out some fast repeats. So we would do a 10-minute run. I would do a 5-minute run and a lot of walking. We will talk probably more about my younger self training wise at some point because we'll have lots of time to talk because it's just me. But we would do our 10 minutes of running. We would do a couple accelerations. Sometimes that's all I remember us doing. And then we would switch to our track workout shoes. We all had, oh my gosh, what version of Brooks was it? But it was just some pair of flats from Brooks. Or we would do 2 laps around the track. then some dynamic stretches, drills. We got into hurdle drills, I think my last 2 years of running for a high school team, and then some accelerations. And then we would do 5 times a kilometer, a couple seconds faster than race pace with a minute rest, then 2 times 200 meters. Occasionally we would do a 300-meter time trial at the end. I believe, and again, I'm not totally sure, I believe we were doing these things to really focus on, being fast at the end, that kick that we like to see at the finish of races. And I'm going to splice in me talking about the workout after I had just finished it. From what I recall, I don't think I had great trains of thought. I think I was kind of rambling. Now I'm thinking about it, it was super fun. I definitely want to, in the next week or so, get back out and give that workout a try again. Kilometers really are a fun distance. I think it can get into your head that you are going very far. But then once you're there and you're like those 2.5 laps, just like crank out super fast, it can feel pretty good because you are not supposed to be putting in like a full out sprint effort. Having that short rest feels fine because you are continuing to move. I've never been a fan of workouts where you're taking equal rest or a long amount of time for rest. Anything more than 2 minutes to me starts to feel anxious. Like, okay, let's just get back out there and finish this up. Because I think you can start to get distracted after that amount of time, even though I do understand the merit of doing those types of workouts with that rest. But personally, I don't love it. So this was nice to do that quick rest. I was walking for the rest. I don't believe that's what we used to do. I think we would start and finish at the same spot. So you weren't really walking anywhere, but I was walking 100 meters and then flipping directions. But it was really fun. I felt great after doing it. I don't think there was any point during it that I didn't feel great either. Obviously it was challenging because I hadn't done it in a long time, but definitely really fun to do. And I think I'm gonna definitely start adding that into my runners workouts because it is so versatile. You can have them start with low repeats, have them start with slow repeats. It is fun. So definitely like that one. For the kids, because I always liked this workout, I started to have them do something similar. We were doing between 3 and 5 times 3 minutes of running. So no, these kids aren't super speedy running 3-minute kilometer repeats, but just something closer to that because at 3 minutes of running, it gets them into, okay, I can't just start sprinting this. But also 3 minutes isn't super long. And because I'm saying we're doing it a couple different times, they often aren't just like dogging it either and going super slow. So definitely a fun one there. Oh, also what I wanted to say when I was talking about we used to do this workout years and years and years ago all the time. My running coach in high school loved this workout. I think this is probably why I remember it so well, not just because we did it all the time. And maybe I'm also misremembering that too. We actually didn't do it all the time. It's just because he talked about it all the time. But this workout was always hyped up, which I think can really impact athletes if the person who you're looking to coach you through things is really excited about a specific workout, really takes it serious. I mean, this workout, he was always standing there for every different group. I mean, because we all were grouped with what our pace was. So standing for every group with the stopwatch, like, go, go, go. This time you need to do this, has everything in his notebooks, made sure we all had those same shoes and made it a huge deal that like we were, you get here, you get serious, you change into your racing flats or your workout flats and, you get to work. So that was kind of fun to kind of have that, all those memories and thoughts and feelings kind of come back when I was doing the workout. Like, oh, one of the last times I did this is really what it was. It was a big deal. This is what we did. It was a weekly thing. It was a routine. And anyone who knows me knows I love a routine. So, yeah, so that was really fun. Really enjoy that. I will probably check back in after I've done it a couple more times. Really want to make sure I'm staying consistent, maybe drop a couple seconds there too. Maybe start adding some of those sprints in at the end. So I will fill everybody in. But if you have not decided to add some kilometer repeats into your training, I suggest you do so, because whether you're training for a 5K or a marathon, it's definitely worthwhile. You're going to need leg speed at some point, right? Right. So I am coming to you live from the track. I also just recorded a whole, I think it was like 10-minute long breakdown of the workout. And then, my phone just wasn't working. So yeah, it's gone. But I just finished the workout. I just finished doing a cool down, which I normally actually do some kind of running, stretching, all that cool down. Today I just did a 1-lap walk around the track while I recorded stuff, because I'm cold and a little tired. But yeah, ultimately super fun. It was cool to do something that I don't believe I've done in 10 years. I don't think it was ever a workout that I enjoyed doing that much in the past. So, once I wasn't being told I had to do this one, I did not. Let's see. Oh, prep wise. So I decided earlier in the day, I wanted to come to the track tonight to do the workout. Told my husband that's what I was doing. He was going to watch the baby. I think an hour later, I said, never mind. I want to go to bed. I am tired and cold, even though I wasn't even outside. I just, sometimes you just feel cold. And then we had Chipotle for dinner, which for people with sensitive stomachs, I typically only eat that if I know I'm just going to be chilling and doing nothing. So got that. And then once my son was asleep, my husband says, you should probably go to the track. He had some things he had to get done. And we had recently just had a conversation like yesterday about helping with motivation and holding me accountable for workouts, which, I have mixed feelings about sometimes for people, like getting too stuck on the never miss a day, no breaks, no rest. That's just a phase I'm in right now of like really wanting to be pushed a little bit on the workouts and the running, but it waxes and wanes. So anyway, that is what he said. So, I head out to go do my workout. It's very cold. It's very dark. If you hear my jacket rustling, that's because I'm bundled up. So I have a hat on, no gloves today. I had my reusable hand warmer, winter coat, zip up, run top, and a long sleeve crop top, which made no sense to wear. Running tights, and then sweatpants, and my Ultras. I think they're the Escalantes, if you even say that way, but it's that shoe. I used to have specific track workout shoes, which I had for like 10 years, and the bottoms just fell off of them. So I have to get new ones. So these were just lightweight, minimal kind of dealio. Yeah, and then had a handful of hot tamales as I was driving over here. I am someone who's very rigid with my warm-up routine. So I've been doing the same warm-up routine for like 10 years. The kids in the run club all do the same warm-up routine that I've done. That's how rigid it is. But today, I don't know if it's because I was cold, dark, wasn't really thinking in my head that I was going to actually be working out anymore. I just kind of went rogue. So did a little bit of jogging. I did the same stuff, just like in a different order. And I don't think I did all the things I normally do. Did some dynamic stretching mixed with some drills, leg swings, no accelerations. I really just wasn't feeling it. Earlier today, also was having like weird tight muscles, not cramps per se, but like you can tell when it feels like that might happen. So I took some magnesium earlier, and I think it may have helped because I had no cramping issues while I was running. Also not always someone who likes to do get really into the watch and pacing and timing things with a watch, because I think I usually am pretty good actually at telling my own pace, but because I wanted to test this workout, I did use the watch and started off a little slower than I was thinking I was going, but still was a fine pace. Finished the first one in 4:24. Did a minute and a half walk. So it was like 100 meters plus like stopping the watch, resetting the watch, going for the next one. Second one was 4:22. And then I was like, okay, I actually don't need to time this. I have a pretty good gauge on how I'm running. So the last ones I did not time, but I kept the same rest, minute and a half rest. I believe we used to do a minute rest, and then it just felt a little too rushed. Now as a running coach, for this one, I would typically have someone do something a little longer for a rest. But yeah, I mean, a minute and a half felt totally fine. Like I was pretty recovered. And honestly, I was feeling cold during my rest, so I didn't really want to rest that much longer. Yeah, overall, it was actually really fun. The whole muscle memory thing kind of came back, and I think that's why I was running about the same speeds that I had done previously. And again, I may actually not even be remembering the times I used to run correctly. That's just, as soon as I hit that time, I was like, I think that sounds right. And the 200-meter breakdown for all the splits, I was like, this feels like what we used to really fixate on for this workout. Typically we would do 2 times 200 meters at the end. I did not do that today. Again, I wasn't really feeling it. It was cold, dark. I kind of just wanted to be all done. And yeah, I mean, that's really, I think we did that because of like really focusing on the finishing kick of a 5K. Not too worried about that right now. So kind of skipped that for now. And again, something I could add in. Also this workout, you don't have to just do 5 times a kilometer. We could do 10 times a kilometer, 8 times a kilometer. So lots of versatility there, but this time I just kind of kept it at what I remember. I say this is one of like my favorite workouts. I don't actually know if that's true as I'm doing it now. I'm like, I don't think this is actually one I liked. But yeah, I think hopefully while I'm recording the rest of this episode, my brain is a little more focused because I just finished the workout. I might be a little scrambled because I think my point was just to talk about actually how the workout went. And I think I'm talking about a lot of other things. But yeah, legs felt good. Minus being a little cold. Obviously lost a couple layers while I was running, but still got chilly, almost immediately upon stopping. I think the air is pretty wet here right now. So everything feels a lot colder than it actually is. And yeah, my lungs were burning, and I think most of that's from the cold. I noticed my form was a little tight and upper body hunched over a little bit. My back also had been hurting. So I think that also led to like leaning forward a little bit. So I think just like all of the postural stuff plus being cold kind of led to a little bit of, breathing was a little labored, but still felt great and like recovered really quickly between each one. So yeah, it was actually really fun. Definitely gonna add this to the rotation. I believe we used to do it weekly, but we also were competing eventually on a weekly basis, which is like not what I think is normal for a lot of us. So definitely not going to put that in there as a weekly thing, but definitely as like a benchmark. It was fun. It's pretty quick too. It's not like the longest workout you ever have to do. So I would definitely say give it a try. Moving on to our next workout. This one, I will say I remembered it less well. I also don't know if we used to do this one as often, and that could be why I remember it less well. I also know that I did modified versions of this all through, well, not college. When I ran in college, I don't believe we did this, but as an adult runner, I think a lot of the times I went to the track, I would do this workout because it seemed easy or something similar to that. So I think my memory is probably a little hazier on this one. So this is 20 times 200. But also the way our coach used to describe it, it was 5 times, 4 times 200, which I remember as a younger me and an experienced track person always saw that written on the whiteboard and was like, what does this mean? But we did 2,200s. We did 30 seconds rest between each 200 in the groups of 4. And then after each 4, we would do a minute of rest. My memory of this workout was it was done at an easy pace. Oh, well, backing up. Why would we do this? Speed, strength. This is obviously a short interval workout, short as in short distance. The 2,200s can end up taking a little bit of time just because there is so many reps. Why do we need to be doing distances that short? I saw lots of things when reading about it online as well, just because, you know, it's fun to get other people's perspective on workouts. And, you know, not everybody has professional opinions, but still interesting to read. But yeah, so some people are saying you would never need to run 200 meters if you're training for a 5K. And then there's others who are saying even marathoners are running 200-meter intervals. So all that said, I think it's worth doing. I think it's a fun speed workout. Helps, well, let me just run through all of the things. Let's see where to start. Well, 200 meters, that is half a lap around the track. You're looking at probably something between 32 seconds and 55 seconds for this workout, maybe. I'm trying to put averages in here, knowing that everybody runs vastly different speeds and with vastly different goals. So sorry for all of the people I'm leaving out in those generalizations there. But yeah, so for 5K training, the 200-meter intervals don't get as much recognition, I guess, as an interval that you would do as a lot of the other distances, but can be super beneficial. Also really fun because it is so short. Typically, because it's such a short distance, you can run it with pretty, with some speed and intensity. So obviously you're thinking like your goal race pace, definitely a little bit faster as well. And that we can do so many of them. So it's always fun to tell people like I did 20 of this whatever thing today. At least I think that is kind of fun to say. I remember leaving practice on those days and like, well, we did 2,200s. What did you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so also like I said, improves speed, but also just power as a runner, can help with running economy form. It also helps you work on pacing because you are doing so many, and it's can be easy to start too fast, end up finishing slow. So it really helps you really work on that consistency too. Let's see, what else? Well, I was reading things on Running Magazine, and they were explaining kind of actually just like how to run a 200. So this was kind of interesting. They said, run the 200s by accelerating to goal pace within the first 50 meters or so, and then maintaining that speed until you reach the end. Slow yourself down in a controlled manner, and then either walk or slow jog for another 200 meters before starting up the next interval. This is talking about, it looks like they're having people do 8 to 10 repeats. So that's not exactly the workout we are talking about today. They're also saying at your 10K pace or faster. So the goal of what I was just reading is a little different than what we are talking about. But all that said, 200-meter intervals are important. They're in lots of different running programs, training plans, but you don't have to do 20 if you do not want to. But I think that's a pretty good workout. So let me explain. You would run 4. Well, you'd run 1, rest for 30 seconds, run your next one. anybody who's done workouts like this knows that in 30 seconds, you're not really getting very far if you're walking during your break. So for this, we pretty much, you stand where you started and then you get ready to hit your watch again and go. And then for your minute break, you have a little bit longer where you can grab your water or whatever. It goes by pretty quickly, I will say, because you are not resting a lot. 200 meters go by usually in under a minute. So that is a fast workout. You're looking at less than 20 minutes of running for probably a lot of us. Let me see. What else? Oh, so I tried this workout. I did not succeed in this workout. I did not finish this workout. I do not love doing that. But also I don't like being uncomfortable and not having fun with my runs. So yeah, called it quits today. Definitely gonna try this one again. We'll definitely check back in. What was I doing? I was doing 40-second, 200 meters. I believe that's what I also used to run back in the day, but I also don't really remember too well. So what is that? We're looking at 80-second 400s. We're looking at, ooh, I should have done the math on this before. So that's above goal pace for me when I was running them, just to keep the math simple. The 30 seconds rest is really short, like I said. Yeah, I think if I did it again, I also would probably only use the watch for the first couple and the last couple, just to see. I think I talked about not loving using the watch. So I would probably switch that up and only use it for some, because I think I have a pretty good gauge on my consistency as well. It shouldn't feel like you're sprinting, because you are, again, we were doing it with those short rests. So it's more, again, tempo-ish. It's not really, because that's not the goal and that's not the structure of the workout, but that's just kind of how it feels with like your sustained. It almost feels like sustained effort because you are taking such a short break, but it also is falling more into the category of one-to-one for work and rest, because if you're running those 40-second 200s and you're getting 30 seconds of rest, that's very close. But yes, the effort shouldn't be sprinting. This past time, it did not feel easy, but I do remember when we used to run it, the 200-meter pace feeling relatively easy. So if you're thinking of doing that one, check that out. I don't feel like I have a great breakdown of the 20 by 200s, but when I try it again, I will also have some more probably to say about the 200 meters intervals. I'll also look to see what other people are doing with that in their training plans, because I'm always curious what other people have going on. I do not typically prescribe this just because not everybody has access to a track. 200 meters, it's like figure out where that is, if on your street in your neighborhood or whatever, maybe. But yeah, oftentimes I think if you're going to throw something at somebody and say you're doing 20 of these, newer athletes are not going to feel comfortable with that high number. So again, this is more of a workout that is probably closer to the end of your training for a 5K, or for more experienced people, just also by the sheer intimidation factor of those high reps. But it is a fun one. So again, I recommend giving it a try, especially people who are training for 5Ks who are looking to improve your time. All of you know that speed is what you need. So give it a go, test those legs out, see how it feels. All right, so don't mind my voice. That's partially what I'm going to talk about too, but I just got done attempting the 20 times 200 meters repeats in sets of 4. So it's 5 times 4 times 200 meters with 30 seconds rest, a minute between each round, I guess. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on how you describe that. Either way, it's 2200s. I did not do 2200s just now. I did half of the workout. I did it on my assault runner because it's dark. It's very cold. I don't have 200 meters measured out in my neighborhood. I have a guess for when I do like in a functional fitness workout, I have a guess of where it would be, but I'm not totally sure. So I did on that. I had my, what are these called? Heaters, space heaters on. It doesn't feel like they've been doing anything. It is freezing in my gym. I think after 200s, my chest was on fire. I think after by my fourth 400, my mouth was watering and I thought I was going to throw up. And I'm really attributing a lot of this to just the weather we're having right now. It's very cold. It's very wet in the air. And I also didn't really do a good warm up. I never go into workout as ill prepared as I just was, but this was me thinking, oh my gosh, I used to do this all the time. 200 meters is not very far. It's done in a relatively, I don't want to say easy pace, but it's fast, but it never felt like a sprint when we used to do it. Again, 15 years ago when we used to do it. But I've definitely done this workout since then as an adult. But I honestly don't recall what it felt like then either. But yeah, so I guess let me talk you through it. So preparation wise, I had Popeyes for lunch at around 10:30. I feel like every time I'm talking about a workout, I had some kind of fast food ahead of time. I really don't eat that much fast food, but I'm very busy and my son had fallen asleep in the car this morning. And in attempts to not wake him up, I went to Popeyes for lunch because I was starving on our way home. Yeah, and then did not really eat anything up until, what time is it now? It is 7:30. So that is a really long time not to be eating something. I had like a handful of peanut butter pretzels around 6. I ate 2 Oreos on my way out to the gym. Again, not how I normally prepare for a workout. I hadn't made dinner yet, blah, 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 all the excuses, right? But I was again thinking, this will be easy. So I get in the shed, it's freezing. That should make me think I need to do a good warm up. Instead, I was like, I don't want to do a good warm up. I just want to get this over with. So I did very few dynamic stretches and hopped on the assault runner. In my head, I was thinking, oh, I coached 2 hours ago and we did a great warm up. We did some sprints, we did some drills. So I was prepared, not thinking that like, yeah, I haven't moved my body in 2 hours though. So all that to say, jump on the assault runner. I'm running 40-second clips. So that means the rest is obviously shorter than the run. For a sprint, and I will tell you, I'm not as fast as I used to be because I have not been working on speed stuff. So 40 seconds for 200 felt speedy to me. That was another shock. I really wasn't thinking it was going to feel fast, but my hamstrings were pretty lit up after the first one. Yeah, so that 30-second rest goes by crazy fast. I think normally I would be able to breathe better during those rests, but that was not the case today. Yeah, so then the minute rest between each round felt like nothing in comparison to the 30 seconds. I was still like, oh, this is not really anything better. Yeah, so I did have to work out and then was like, this is tearing up my lungs and I wasn't very prepared for this. And I really wasn't planning to do this today, but I was thinking, oh, I have a strength training day today. We'll pretend speed and strength are actually the same. And yeah, do that. So I will give this one another try. I will do this one on the track just because that's what I'm familiar with. And I think that'll help with like pacing ideas because I do want to play around with the pace a little bit. maybe slow it down to like 42 seconds and see how that feels. But anyway, interesting workout to do because again, you don't see it, at least I don't see it prescribed a lot in, 5K training plans, like the standard ones you'll find anywhere on the internet, right? You'll see 200-meter intervals. You'll see some repeats. Often you see a lower number, at least often I have seen a lower number. Yeah. And I've seen it in ladders too, or I think, like I mentioned, in our 5 times a kilometer, we were sometimes doing 2 times a 200 after we finished that. But I have seen actually in, I want to say it's 1500 meter or 1600 meter training. Like some of the professional athletes who range between like 2 mile, 1 mile, maybe 5Ks, they do high volume of 200 meter repeats. Hopefully when I am recovered, because I'm going to finish recording this episode when I'm done working out, my brain's a little clearer, but I do think it's kind of interesting to offer a perspective immediately after finishing a workout, because even though it's not when you have the most clarity, it's when you have the most raw thoughts, I think, about what you just did. So seemed valuable. All right, so that was my little breakdown of those 2 workouts. This is probably how a lot of these episodes are going to go for a little while. I'm sure as time goes on, I will have a slightly better structure. Everything goes better after you've done it a few times. Maybe have different information. So obviously, please give some feedback if there's more info or background you want on each workout. I kind of was keeping it pretty general of, this is what the workout is. This is kind of why you would do it. This is what it has looked like. This is what it does look like for me right now. This is what it can look like. But definitely feel free to let me know. Also, if there's a workout that you would like me to try, that would be kind of fun. So feel free to, if you're a Spotify listener, that question will be up in Spotify. If not, feel free to email or message on social media. This was fun though. I think it gave me some new motivation for workouts to do. I'm going to have to now go do a little bit of research on what I would like to do next. And again, sometimes it's going to be 1 workout, sometimes it'll be 2, depending on what my training schedule and kind of just like what my available time looks like. I'm thinking next week we'll talk about some kind of ladder, like 400, 600, 800, 1200, 800, 600, 400, maybe. That's just my initial thoughts. Who knows if that's actually what I'm going to do. And then maybe also I will talk a little bit about either some active recovery or just like an easy run or maybe a long run. And that pretty much will cover all of my previous 5K training experience. And then maybe I'll talk a little bit about current 5K training experience, because I have recently just decided that that is what I'm going to focus on for the next 2 months, is the 5K. I had been doing lots of long distance stuff, thinking of training for spring ultras. That is still a goal, but I also just got excited signing up for our local 5K winter series, trying to get lots of some of the local running groups and friends and even the kids to sign up for the 5K winter series. So I thought, why not get into some 5K training? Because I haven't done any of that in a really long time. So that'll be fun to check out for now. Then maybe just, I'm not sure if we'll actually do 10K training or just talk about some 10K related and then half marathon related things. And then probably looking at marathon in the spring too. So definitely going to talk more about marathon training. Let me see, what else do I want to talk about training wise? talking about couch to 5K kind of things, couch to 10K, couch to half, couch to full marathons. Talk about that training method. We'll talk about run walk, even though I know a lot of running podcasts, running content always talk about run walk, but yeah. Maybe we'll talk about the David Goggins challenge. What is it? 4x4x48 or something. You know what it is. I obviously have to relook up what it is. But yeah, so all those things is really what I think would be fun to talk about. Again, I'm hoping I'll probably refine my methods as we go on what people really want to hear, running wise, running related. Also spam me with your running books, right? I said that already. Definitely have more running books to talk about. I'm hoping my copy of Born to Run 2 gets here soon. So that'll be another good one to read and chat about. But yeah, that's all I got for now with our running training. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe, all the things that you can do for a podcast that you enjoy listening to. Make sure you check out social media, our website, any of those things. If you have questions, comments, interview requests, feel free to email me at marikeyrunclub@gmail.com.